Oh, oh, good. And, see, Orpheus, I played five for $400. I mean, we would buy it, but we knew it would pay for us. And then she's going to come off it. She needs some money for people. That's all. They both have one thing and squeeze out from the back. Oh, right. Do you really think you're going to squeeze that money out of this? You're okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for money. Yeah. Keep going, don't you? Can you do that? Anything all the time in the day? I don't know. We made a mistake in the so we agreed to buy it. Go ahead and raise it. But I'm not going to pay it. I'm going to release it until you write a written power. Or I want to buy it. It's very best if you read all of that. Alright. Listen, who's the best? Yes, yes. You couldn't work. This is going to be think you're about to find a game. Let's go first. Called the buckshot. It's the buckshot. It's a little known case. I would hate to hold any power in this world. I go sort of the way of the dragonfly, you know? Keep your power to yourself, such as it is. The less I know about my own power, the better. Although, actually, to be fair, I mean, if you have power, you should know a certain amount, right? Because sometimes people who don't know their power end up misusing it. And the answer would be, how many people misuse power? And it's like, well, the answer is you knew a bit more about how much power you had. I would tell my mom quite often, you need to think about the power of your voice when you yell at me. Like, it's quite a fearsome thing. You can actually crank it back and still achieve the same result. In this way, I can take her violence and teach her about her power. I do it all the time. So these little things that maybe men do for women that don't always get acknowledged. But they do in a sense because, I get the result, which is my mom's an amazing person and we get a better relationship and I get more out of life and, da. It's nice when someone doesn't yell at you, right? It's better when they don't. So it's better when they don't. Okay. Why don't we call font? I like 12-point font. What kind of Helvetica font is that? Font. Give me a good font. I want to invent a new font. I guess it sounds too close to found. It's like, I phoned you last night. I touched myself by looking at the picture on my phone. I wonder how many people are touching themselves right now. Like really touching themselves, just getting in there and just feel like they've decided like they've reached V1. They're gonna have to lift off now. They can't go back. They can't go back. They can't take it back to the hangar because it's just gonna be like steaming up and it's gonna be painful. So come on, get across there, girl. Get across the finish line. Come on. Plunge. Flicker, 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 plunge, 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 flicker, 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 plunge, 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 flicker, 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 nipple, 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 kiss, 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 thrust. They should actually make a score or like some kind of music book of like what women really think when they're masturbating. Really, like what parts of their body. Like take a dictaphone and be like, flick, flick, Plunge, 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 flick, 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 plunge, 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 kiss me, you fool, kiss me, plunge, plunge. You know? Ah, oh, my heart is open to thee. There's something very delicate about female breasts. The thing is like in a sense, a woman's heart is vulnerable like the way a man's testicles are vulnerable. Look at these ducks. That's awesome. I think, in a way, if you want to look at what's most vulnerable about a woman is her heart. You know, right? What is most precious is probably the things that the human heart has to give. A woman has some of the best versions of those to give: love, generosity. More love, more love, more love, more generosity. Like just the way women are with their children, right? So nature has looked upon women, I think, as having a lot to offer in terms of what lay beneath their breasts, essentially. you know, their boobs basically grow according to the generosity of their heart. You know, and any boob is a good boob. Maybe don't mind the size. It's just like, wow, that's generous. You made those for me. A guy gets an erection for 5 minutes for her. She gets boobs the rest of her life for every horny guy that wants to look down her shirt. It's an offering. Like women have tits to offer, don't they? A prospective mate, horny men, people whose attention they don't want, their boobs nonetheless are like testicles. They're out there the way their heart is out there. And some of them may enjoy getting some attention with boobs, and they've reached a threshold where it's like, well, boobs are my genitals, so let's let them work, people. Erin Brockovich, they're called boobs, Ed. That's how I got that guy to do what I wanted him to do. And in a sense, we allow this because we think Erin Brockovich is really using her femininity. She's using something that's based in the truth and righteousness of her pursuits in her heart. And her breasts are just an expression of that. Because the guy is stupid and horny, he doesn't see the power and integrity of her as a woman. He just loves her tits. And in his strange mammalian way, that means, yeah, I'll do what you want. you know? Because the tits are an expression of her. They're attached to her body. They're attached to her. They're hers. She's offering some of them. And they tell him something that he first heard from his own mother's breast or heart. Something that nature offered him and gave him life and nourishment. And a man sees your tits, and yes, horny and all those things, but it's also something offering them something, attached to someone who has a lot to offer. I'm not saying this goes through a man's mind. I'm not saying this is a good reason to show him your tits. I'm just saying this is kind of like the full, complete turn of that energy. And that's what you would call like almost bioluminescent. That's a nice rapport. A man doesn't have to stop at any one of those stations other than, yes, of course, you should have a certain courtesy because of the openness and vulnerability and generosity of your heart, of your femininity, of your body, whether you like it or not. Because it tells the world, hey, you've got boobs. Those nourished me once. Therefore, I value them more than a pile of dog crap. Show a guy dog crap or your breasts. Which one would you rather see? So one is nourishing and one is only nourishing to other dogs. You know what I mean? So I think to me, in terms of like talking about human sex, is acknowledging the obvious, right? While obviously not being so horny. Like if I was really horny right now, I probably would have masturbated by now just talking about this. And I'm sure every guy can think of every beautiful pair of boobs he ever wanted to see or saw. Like, wow. And there's like to think that there's other even prettier boobs out there. Men, as you get older, those young girl boobs start to look like, wow. You're going to wonder why you didn't spend the first 18 years of your life just trying to see women's tits. Like, I never got to see any of them. I could see the allure, though, because now I can look at porn and see a 19-year-old tits and I'm like, yep, I'm so glad I obsessed over those. They look well worth my obsession. Other than most religions, like, are most religions worth your obsession? Or getting comic books or even food? And you look at, like, among all the food I've eaten, those are some sweet titties. Because you eat with your eyes, right? And it's like, And no doubt about it. Do I want to sleep with, impregnate, fertilize, taste the tonsils of every single woman attached to every pair of boobs I've ever looked at? Probably not. I'm sure they're nice people, but I'm really just looking at the hardware or the software. It's too bad that boobs don't get erect, hey? So if a woman likes you, they just start getting stiffer. It's like, shit, you can't control it. They balloon up, the nipples start to get more prominent beneath her t-shirt, and you're like, look, I can tell you like me. All right, so let's just make this quick, shall we? I mean, sex is funny. Sex is in the category of the signals we send each other, and also whether or not we read the signals we send each other. Maybe women have been telling me something my whole life. Maybe Mother Nature has been telling me something about the beauty and strength that all my problems will be answered if I simply listen to what all women have been telling me all of my life. And what would that be? We love you. We need you. I mean, what, to me, like, what would a woman say if she was sitting by her father and she was 13 years old or 14 or 19 and whatever had happened that was not good had ceased to exist and everything went back to normal? And how would she feel about her dad in a moment? How precious would that be to spend time with him? I've never met a woman who didn't at some point love or need to love her father. Her first man, her best man, really. A woman, one of the most important people in any woman's life, whether we like it or not, whether they like it or not. And how important it is to be a good father to your son, yes, but to be that man to your daughter, which, you don't have to tell most men that, but I'm not a father, but I have a sister and I have a mother who had fathers. And I would give my left testicle for all that my sister has tried to take it away anyway without my permission most of my life. If my sister had the father she needed and had that moment and had some months and years to spend time with my father and say, okay, this is her father as well. This is what I need from a man. And it's nothing to do with sexism. This is this person who has like this sun disk like power to acknowledge her heart and her spirit and how simple it needs, how simple what a woman needs, and not 20 pairs of shoes and not all this makeup and not a rich man, a poor man, and all the romantic attention of all the TV and movie star like representations of man's interests and aspirations towards only the best of females. All of that is nothing. The acknowledgement, the sun disk of the Father, of her spirit and her heart, and how simple its needs, how simple its articulation. That the whole earth taken as that 16-year-old girl would be suddenly rendered in its most simple, beautiful, stark, realistic form. A cup of coffee and your dad, and his respect and his interest. Now, I don't want to be rude, and I know I'm nobody's father, but I've never met a young woman who didn't like me giving her attention. You know what I mean? I don't want to be rude, but like a lot of women like male attention, a lot of women like my attention. Different kinds. It's never really on the mark, one way or the other. Older women, younger. It's not on the mark, in the sense that it's something that's safe for me to try to enter into it all. And I don't want to, but, I've never met a young woman who didn't need the attention of an older man in the way she hadn't had enough of it from her father. Never in my life. It must be an extraordinarily difficult task for young white women to find mates and to work out their relationship with their fathers. It's incredible. And the men are doing what they're doing. It's incredible what glues people together, because I doubt it's sex, really. So it's amazing that people stay together as much as they do. I doubt it's sex. I generally think, because I know that psychological wellness is the holy grail of the white female world and male world, if you're someone like me who is, in a sense, more on the feminine side. And, every white woman over 28 years of age or younger has some kind of self-help book on her bookshelf. I guarantee you. From Women Who Won with the Wolves to Shakti Gawain to Marianne Williamson to Wayne Dyer to Eckhart Tolle or Tony Robbins or The Power of Now, all this stuff. We know she does. Angels and medicines and, something. Okay? So in this way that they or we all aspire to some kind of sense of psychological well-being in the world. Why? And this is where this confuses me, because a lot of these women want to have sex with me. And I don't understand why they would bother pursuing that. They seem to, like, To me, if you're really focused on developing spiritually, I don't like that word, but emotionally, psychologically, and you found a guy like me, why would you want to have sex with me? It just doesn't make any sense. And I wonder what kind of path these women are really on. If it's just surfaces. Because, like I said earlier, I mean, white people live not in their. There's nothing wrong with being in your head. I'm in the head all the time. They live in their neocortex. Like everyone's in their fucking head. But when they live in their neocortex, which means they can rationalize anything. These books that are magic and crystals and chakras and numbers and years and this blah 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 blah. I mean, I've studied a lot of religion and spirituality, and I don't want to be rude, but it's all bullshit, really. But it's interesting bullshit, and it's bullshit that tells us about ourselves and what we want, and it can be like the best bullshit in the world, to the point that calling it bullshit would seem kind of rude, because you wouldn't call my bullshit bullshit, even though it's probably just the same kind of bullshit. It to me, religion, let's say, if we want to get more specific, is all about what you're rooted in. And how can you fucking say for sure what that is? So once you start becoming cavalier with your beliefs, saying, I know this and I worship this, and this is so wonderful for me that you should do it too, then I think you're full of shit. You could have you don't have the greatest religion in the world if you need to convert people. I'm sorry, you just don't. If you've ever developed any kind of religious IQ whatsoever that's sound to the roots and the emotional integrity of human beings, a lot of which we know, of course, before we're converted to any fucking religion. And we don't need one when we're a child, right? Because our brains work properly, just like we don't need alcohol. It's amazing, isn't it? So it gives you some idea of the denial that runs like a similar thread between drugs, alcohol, and religion. It's kind of like pick your poison, right? It's fine to believe anything. I think any belief in the world could be the bee's knees of anyone. If it connects you to your joy and your love and keeps your family sound and helps you to do in as much to feel like you're doing enough, when it's almost like when you love people, you can never do enough. You know what I mean? It's always going to feel like you didn't do enough or have enough time and all that stuff. So you want your faith to make an answer. It's like you're singing a song and you're just hoping that there's some auto tune that's going to take it and shower the audience with the golden blessings of the avatar of existence. Or that time you take a pool shot and you just close your eyes and hope it goes in. You hope that your life is enough. And where you hope, where you fling out your heart at the end of the day, when you've got nothing left to hold back and no reason to, that's your religion. Where you stoop and cry and say, thank you fucking Lord that I didn't get audited this year. Or the fucking things that you just can't afford to let happen now, not now of all times. And you fucking ask something somewhere, or you say it out loud to some crevice in the cosmos and hope to fucking fuck on the last thing you want to fucking base your life on is the hope at the end of the fuck that such and such a thing is going to go your way. Because down deep, how the fuck do you know anything's supposed to go your way ever? Isn't this all just like a giant fucking mandible? And don't we just like giant Holocaust victims all over the world, just like, which part of the mandible is my job? Just show me where. You either work the mandible or you feed the mandible. Which choice do you want? Get ground down by grinding down other people or just get ground down, period. And a lot of white social and economic development is kind of like that. Now, just to be fair, so that we can paint these kinds of pictures all day long. It has its value, it's shocking, I'm sure, and provocative. I don't want to take away from its legitimate claim upon human social interest, but I don't want to be hyperbolic to the point that I'm just making sensational statements. And they're shocking enough to cease to be worth anyone's time, so that'll be the point. But I just want to say that they're just shockingly dark ways of looking at the world, and ways that the world lends itself to some pretty shocking interpretations. The point is not how shocking it is and how smart I am to look into the crevices of society's inability to be perfect to anyone, much less someone who has nothing else to do but criticize it. What my point is to keep thinking and moving forward in my own vulnerable, scared, shitless way, and to take someone else along with the ride, who, by the way, gets to punch out whenever they want to, because I'm not that kind of guy. Okay? I'm not going to grab you by the neck and force you to spend time with me. Time with Landon by Roald Dahl. The logs were feeling stiff that day. He patted the one he sat on, straddling, his gay white household being appropriately lubricated by a raucous choir of the confluence of forces that came to bear upon the bony little cheeks and the heart of darkness that lay within. And though he was not gay, and this was not gay porn, and it would be bad gay porn if it were, but maybe that's all it should aspire to be. Another assignation in the poetry of human butt fucking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, the only way for me to accept homosexuality is to make jokes on that err on the side of making me look gay, because I think I am a little bit gay, but I definitely don't want to butt fuck anybody. And I want to make that really clear. Dicks and assholes are not on the menu for me. I don't have dreams where I'm like, pussies, vaginas, tits, women's asses, and oh look, dicks and anuses. I've never been in that part of the menu before. I don't have those kinds of dreams. And like, and what if that man over there was just wearing a tool belt? He was bending over, and I was running through the forest, feeling really excited. And it was kind of like a Sonny Bono kind of thing. I was like, whoa, sorry about that. I got my dick in your ass. That didn't feel good at all. Why are you blushing? It's like the forbidden fruit all of a sudden. So I don't have dreams like that. There's not like a giant Sonny Bono hunting me down the ski slopes. I'm like, dun, 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 dun. I'm turning into a tree like Daphne when Apollo's trying to rape her. It's like, oh God, there's a hole in that tree. It's right down where Winnie the Pooh is standing. It's just like, shit, he's pinning Winnie the Pooh to my ass. I'm like, Winnie the Pooh's like, hey, help me. Christopher Robin's like, Winnie, I told you I was the only one who got to do that. This is for my memoir. It's called It Only Gets Worse. My life is like an infection. I think I've got an erection. It only goes down from here. Okay, I've got an erection, everyone. Why? Because it only goes down from here. It's like a giant hill. Come along and take your fill. It's like a giant hill that goes down, goes down. It's like a giant hill that goes down, goes down. And I've never seen a snatch. I don't know if there's a catch, but I've never met a girl like me. No, no, I'm not gay, but I've never met a girl like me. No, no. Never met a girl like me. I think I am a bit of a girl. Well, I think I am, I think. As I live and breathe, I think I'm a little bit of a girl. Yeah. I don't know why people don't get that. You know, I'm a strong man, but I'm a little bit of a girl. Love me tender, love me kind. But I hate it when homosexual men hit on me. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. I'm really not gay in that way. I'm just a little bit of my own little girl. That's all. I'm not really, like, I don't have a name for myself. I don't wear dresses. I just mean that nature is a sensitive place. Nature is a female place in a very, very huge way. And it's a place where male energy also dwells. Very powerful. And female energy in all of her grandeur is never separated from male power. And so male power can never hurt her. It's not the male power of human beings that are hurting the earth. It's the imbalance between male and female energy. Do you understand? Which indeed is an imbalance as though with the feminine energy of the cosmos, which is the fundamental energy of the cosmos, which is the fundamental energy of our minds. You simply offend the minds of people, and you will get a world that's as misogynistic and as male sacrificing as the world could ever be. What's the solution? It's not the Saul you will shun, is it? It's the Saul you stop shunning. It's the Saul you don't shun. That's the solution. It's the Saul you don't shun. Saul you don't shun. A new book from Landon CD. The Saul you don't shun. It's true. It's the spirit of the child that you don't shun. It's the voice that comes out of the dark. The child who thinks he's the Messiah out in the wilderness because he hasn't got any kind of other literary reference for how fucking lonely he feels. Because he feels so powerful and true to himself, and yet the further he goes into the wildness of his mind, the farther fucking away you look, and the more sacrificial he seems to appear to the appetites of your world.